Good evening, everybody. So today we're gonna be talking about the Iran War. The first time on my show, we're gonna be talking about the Iran War. I've been trying to deviate from this. I don't want to talk about it, but we have to talk about it. There's no other news. I read through Reuters. I read through the New York Times. I read through Axios. Nothing interesting. So we're talking about the Iran War. We kind of have to. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So let's talk about it. What is happening that I need to talk about? So I'm reading from the New York Post. Wow. New York Times. Trump encounters a more determined Iran as the war widens. So what happened, yesterday is Iran attacked Jordan, right? And it's the first time that Iran has been on the offensive. All this war, Iran's been sending responses. Or like they'll get hit, they'll send something back. They have not attacked. They have not been on the offensive in this war. But now they are. Now they're in the offensive. So this is actually something to talk about because Trump is in a really bad situation here. This is why, I don't know if he didn't know this. I don't know if... I don't know. But let's get into it. So there's a lot of things to talk about. It's going to be a good show. So, I think it was yesterday. It was a 5-month anniversary of the start of this war. Or, actually it was yesterday. Operation Epic Fury. I think Khamenei died, today? 5 months ago? Or it might have been on March 1st. One of those two. But to talk about this, Trump started this war, and he's in a really big predicament here. And he can't get himself out because here's the thing. You can't leave the war if you're Trump. You can't just leave. Because if you leave without trying to stop Iran from getting a nuclear bomb or starting some deal, well then you went to this war for nothing and you make America look bad. And that's what you have to avoid. You can't lose a war to Iran, right? This is one of our biggest enemies. We can't lose a war to Iran, but it looks like we are. It looks like we are. It looks like we're going to lose this war because in terms of military action, we are winning, right? No one's denying that, right? We are winning the war in terms of military action because, we're bombing the living hell out of them. We're just bombing everything, right? But it's just not doing anything. We've done this for, 5 months now? And Trump said this was going to be a 1 month thing. He says 4 to 6 weeks. He said 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks. And this war will be over. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm back at the time. I left because of the Iran war. And so, pretty much, with Iran, I don't know. Again, I can't say if I were Trump, because I don't know what he's thinking. Because I just knowing that Trump in his first term, knowing that he was trying to, out of everybody, was trying to avoid the war in Iran. Out of everybody, he was the one to make sure. He was coming at Obama. He said he was gonna go to a war with Iran because he was an idiot. Right? We have a stupid president. He's like, go to war with Iran. And then now we're with war Iran almost 11, 12 years later. More, actually, around that time. And so you had to know, because I don't think Trump's a complete idiot, right? Everyone says Trump's an idiot, especially on my side, the far right. Like, Trump's an idiot. And I don't know if I believe that. I feel like, I just can't, I feel like he has to know that this would have not been a 4 to 6 week phase, because he originally said in his first speech, coming out of when we first started bombing them, he said, we have to get regime change. He said that, right? He's like, people of Iran, we're gonna soften it up for you, then you have to overthrow your government. That's a regime change. That's regime change, right? So, is he like? I just can't understand it. You think that he'd think that we're gonna get regime change without boots on the ground with this military in this big nation? Like, do you think the Kurds were gonna do something? Was gonna do like Ben Shapiro, the Kurds, right? Like, did he think that? I have no idea what this guy was thinking, right? So, talking about this, right? Iran is more determined. Reading this article, how they just came after, right? They just came after Jordan, and they've been attacking a lot of bases. They permanently shut down a lot of bases from the United States. They've killed 18 people, which is, in terms of that, it's a lot of people. And so, looking at this, right? We did intercept a lot, though. We did intercept a lot of it because our military is just better than theirs. But here's the thing. Trump still wants a diplomatic end for this war. And, I mean, he should. He's been the guy who's been, we're going to work with diplomacy. Right? Always. We're going to work with diplomacy. But here's the thing, right? When Iran now has leverage over the United States. If they ever want to get a deal with the United States, because just say hypothetically, which is not going to happen, this is not going to happen. We get the straight open completely, and Iran makes some deal with a nuclear bomb. But it's just hypothetically. I'm going to turn this off, because this is bright. I don't need this anymore. Turn off. Okay. So, just say hypothetically, like, which is impossible, that we get this deal, and it's perfectly fine, and we get the straight open completely, no tolls, and Iran makes the deal to not get a nuclear bomb, which is, again, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, right? Again, this is extreme hypothetical. Let's just say it does. Iran, just say Iran, if they're just pissed off the United States and they need to make a deal with us to release sanctions, well, they can just close the border, or not close the border, close the strait. And then, guess what? Prices of oil starts going up, crashes the global economy, all right? Crude oil goes through the roof. If you have all of that, Iran can use that as leverage because they make more money, right? They make more money. They could charge a toll. They could do a lot. But now we gave Iran a leverage over us for the future. Probably the next 20, 30, 40 years, or however long Iran lasts. I don't know how long they're going to last as a country. But however long, they can use that as a leverage over us. And now, they're more determined to do so. They are more determined because they see that the USA and Trump is panicking. They're panicking because they need to end this war. This war needs to be ended. To them, to Trump, we have midterms. Well, not we. I'm not a Republican. But they have a midterms, right? And they need to get this done before midterms, right? Because if they have this war still going on during midterms, he's not going to win. And he's already not going to win. I don't think he's going to win midterms. He wasn't even going to win midterms in February, right? Because the whole Epstein thing, right? There's going to throw the Epstein at him. Now they have the war in Iran. So nobody's going to vote for Trump. There's going to be no Republican turnout because, again, no one likes Trump, all right? And so he's like, we need to win midterms or I'm going to get impeached. I'm going to get impeached in the House. I'm not going to be able to pass anything. So he's worried about that with this Iran war that I don't understand why he started this. I understand Netanyahu obviously dragged him in. It's a fact that Netanyahu and Israel has been asking every president, I think since Carter, to go to war with Iran. And every president has said no, besides Trump's second. He said no to Netanyahu in his first term. I don't know why he said... Well, actually, I do know, because he got a lot of money from the Israel lobby in his second term. All right? Like Mary Madelson, $100 million. Laura Loomer. A lot of these guys gave him a lot of money. Took $200 million from AIPAC or Israeli lobbies. So that makes sense, right? He kind of owed them that. Compared to his first term, he didn't take that much. I don't even think he took any money. Besides the point, he's in a really bad situation right now, Trump. He cannot find his way out. It's almost impossible. In what ways he got to find himself out without either relieving sanctions, which is just to be another version of JCPOA that he left in 2017, because he's like, well, it's a bad deal. They were breaking it. We released sanctions on them. All right, so you got that. It should be another thing, the JCPOA, which is the only way to get us out of this war with the strait being open. But I don't think Iran wants to do that, because Iran knows that Trump will not be putting ground forces. Okay, and the only way Trump gets regime change and gets this towards the end, without the what I just said with the relieving of sanctions is a ground force, which he's not going to do because that'll be, or he's already at political suicide. His approval ratings would be in the 20s. Okay, it'll be in the 20s if he does that. And so he can't do that. He can't because that would be political suicide. So he has to. He tried bombing them a million times. He tried completely obliterating them 20 times. It didn't work. Nothing has worked. So Iran is more determined to get tolls on the Strait because you know how much money it's going to be for them? It's going to be hundreds of billions of dollars because the Strait is 20% of the world's oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. So a lot of money. And so they're determined. Either they get reliefs of sanctions and they can start trading with more of the world, which equals more money for them, and eventually they'll probably start funding their nuclear research again. It's a fact. They'll do it. You can't trust Iran, right? They were getting a nuclear bomb, but I just think it's okay for them to have a nuclear bomb. That's my argument. It's true, they're going to try and make a nuclear bomb because Israel has a nuclear bomb, so they have to protect themselves, right? And it was to keep all it is to keep Israel in check. I don't think Iran's to be using it against anybody. It's just to keep Israel in check. Besides the point, he's not gonna make it out. He's just not gonna make it out. So with Trump, he's gonna either have to release sanctions, which again just makes Iran richer. And the whole point of this is to make Iran poor, right? He ran on that, and on the Joe Rogan podcast, he said that. He's like, Iran was poor under me. They were broke poor. All right, and now Iran's gonna be rich because that's the only way. He's gonna have to release sanctions. He's gonna have to come to the table. He's gonna have to give a little bit, unless he uses ground forces, which will take probably a year to conquer all of Iran. Right. Also, talk about how much that will cost. I mean, well, that's a lot of money, right? And if we also look at the amount of Americans that will die. Think about we've already had 18 Americans die. Well, it will probably be millions, not millions, hundreds of thousands of Americans that are going to die. Right? So hundreds of thousands of Americans are going to die. It's the only way he gets out of this alive. Like, it's the only way. It's the only way. He's not going to make it out here alive. Right? So he's in a bad predicament. I know he doesn't want to do any of this. I know that... I don't know if he thinks that he made a mistake or I can't tell you. But I know that he is panicking. I know that JD Vance is panicking. I know that everyone there is panicking because it's a really bad situation for him. So Iran probably going to see another huge bombing because I know that the bombing of Jordan will not be unanswered. Trump is probably pissed off about that. So they're going to bomb him. They're going to bomb Iran. Probably a lot more. And eventually you'll have to come back to the deal. They'll probably make another MOU. And that's going to get broken again. I just don't see this war ending by the end of the year. Because everyone was saying July was going to end. June was going to end. They said March. Right? They said pretty much that every single month the war was going to end permanently. It just hasn't ended. I don't see this ending before midterms. It's just, unless we do ground forces, which will take a year minimum to me, I don't see it ending. So, yeah, actually, that was 15 minutes. That was a lot. That was one of my longer shows. But yeah, this is interesting. Trump is in a really bad situation, and I'm just happy I left the train because I cannot stay with this anymore. It's just idiotic. But yeah, thank you for watching. God bless. I'll be on the Taft Show tomorrow. I've been reminding you guys every single day for this week. I'll be on the Taft Show tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what's going to happen about that. Really, not much communication. But we'll see what happens. And, yeah, thank you for watching, and God bless.